Hello everybody, my name is Nico. I am a student at Artevelde College and I follow marketing. For my course of business English, I needed to make a portfolio, and today I'm going to give you some extra information about my portfolio, about what I did, how I did it, and why I did it. I'm not going to tell you everything because in the link below the movie you can find all my tasks and everything that I need to prepare for my portfolio. So first I'm going to tell you about my SWOT analysis. My SWOT analysis are my strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats. My strengths are that I have, I believe, a fairly good vocabulary and I know my grammar. My weaknesses are that I don't know how to write everything, I make errors. I stress a little bit too much when I have to talk in front of a group, and I don't always use my grammar correct. Opportunities. Well, opportunities I have to take is that I need to start working on time to finish everything on time, and I need to control my work better before I hand it in to eliminate faults. The threats that I have is I sometimes lose track of time to finish my tasks. I think I know everything well enough too soon, and I need to work faster. I'm a really slow worker. So my action plan for this year, or for this semester, is that I surely need to improve my grammar and I need to try to widen my vocabulary. Beside that, I need to lose my stress when I talk in front of a group. How will I do that? Well, I will try to talk more during the lessons to learn that it's not bad to make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. I'm also going to study better, harder, and longer, and I definitely have to begin sooner at my tasks. So that is my action plan for this semester, and I hope it will work. Okay, well, now it's time to talk about my cases and units. I'm not going to tell you everything that I did because you can find it in the link below my movie. I will tell you how I prepared myself and what I thought of the tasks. I must say that I'm glad that we had to make a task every week because for students like us, it is good to work with the language as much as possible. And I also know that if we only have one presentation to do and we have an exam in January, I will only study for the presentation and I will only study for the exam in January. So for the rest of the semester I wouldn't do a thing. So for me in particular it was very good to have these tasks because I was forced to work for English every week and I was forced to work with the language, and that is how you learn the language the best. So sometimes I was very mad because we had to make lots of stuff, but afterwards I was very glad that we had to do that all, that we had to make this portfolio, because it is very good to work with the language, to speak it, to write it, to make exercises. That's the only manner you will learn something. So for that I'm glad. I'm not so glad for all the tasks we had to make because they weren't all so clear. Sometimes we didn't really know what to do. But I must say that the units communication, international marketing, and team building are very interesting units, and they are very important for our marketing development. So I must say that the cases are well chosen. So that was my part about cases and units. There was one task that I really liked making, and that was the video we have to make for a perfume commercial. It was a perfume for Henri Claude Cosmetics called Physique. First we had to do a little brainstorm in our group, and we decided to change everything about the perfume. We started by changing the name. We chose the name Dr. M, Dr. Masculine or Dr. Medicine. We also changed our target group. We target ages 20 to 30, so we also had to lower our price because that age group isn't capable of paying a lot of money for a perfume. We made also a brand new design, and we made sure that you could refill your perfume, so it lasts longer. Afterwards, we had to make a storyboard. For our storyboard, we chose a man who is alone. To start with, a man who is alone, who has no friends, all alone at the beach. Then we put in a picture of our perfume, and afterwards he was attacked by girls. Every girl liked him, every girl wanted him, and that was the objective of our commercial, that if you use our perfume, everybody, and especially the girls, will like you and they will hunt you to get you. That was something that I really liked making. It was also nice to work together in a group, to be creative, to make the video. You can find the link to the video in my portfolio. For the video, we've chosen to put two existing videos together. And as I said, it was really nice making it. It was a nice task and I really enjoyed it. So the next thing that I'm going to talk about is the book I've read. We were supposed to read a book in English about something that is related to business. I chose The World is Flat by Thomas L. Friedman. I have the book over here. It's a very thick book. It's a book about the rise of the internet, and especially the years after. He talks about how the internet has changed our way of doing business. In the first chapter he explains 10 flatteners of the world, because he says the world is flat. It doesn't mean the world is really flat, but he means that today we can go from Brussels to Washington to Tokyo, Canberra and back to Brussels in a couple of seconds just by using the internet. So he talks about 10 flatteners, like outsourcing, inshoring, supply chaining, all items that have helped businesses to develop, that have helped businesses to become international, to become the big players in their field. The second chapter of the book is about how America has evolved during the flattening of the world, what chances America has taken and what opportunities they have let down. The third part of the book is how you and me have evolved, how we become more and more able to express our meanings, to tell what we think on the internet by uploading, by blogging, by making movies. And the last part of the book is about the geopolitics and the developing countries, and how they managed to begin on the flattening of the world, and how they have threatened the flattening of the world by, for example, the Cold War, and China didn't let any other countries inside of their market. Then I have answered some questions that we needed to answer. So the first question was, which 5 items from the book did you find particularly interesting for business students? Explain and explain each time why you found them of interest. Well, the first item is the invention of the internet. Why? That's something interesting to read, to start with, and because then you'll realize where we come from and how it was before we could use the internet. because we as students, we are grown up with the internet. We don't know how it was before, as a figure of speech. Then the second item was outsourcing. Why outsourcing? Because many companies, even when they just start off, and like many students, want to do everything by themselves. But nowadays, if you want to run and become an international company, I think you need to outsource some of your tasks. Then the third item is networking, but especially networking over the internet. Networking is something very important, but what many people forget is that you can network over the internet as well, and you can reach billions and billions of people just by making a blog, just by chatting on a forum, just by sending emails and stuff like that. You can reach billions and billions of people, and you can widen your network faster than any other network. The fourth item that I find interesting is if it's not happening, it's because you're not doing it. Why have I chosen that item? Well, it is important in the business world today to adapt as soon as possible and not wait until everybody has adapted before you. You have to be the early adopter, you have to be remarkable, you have to be others than the rest. Because to find new things in the business market nowadays is very hard. Almost everything has been found already. You have to be the first, you have to be remarkable, you have to be others, you have to be different than the rest. The fifth item is uploading. Why uploading? We can upload almost everything, photos, blogs, everything. And it's important to have an identity in the world by being active on the internet. If you just stay at home reading books, not going on the internet, not put yourself out there, you will not get anywhere. Why? The second question we had to answer is, why should a manager read this book? Well, to be honest, it is a rather old book. It's written in 2006. My edition, the first edition, was 2004. But I think that everything that is inside here, and especially the first chapter about the 10 flatteners of the world, is still very important in the business nowadays, and it could still help managers to look different at their own business and to start thinking about what they could improve or what they could do better. And then there was a last question: was there any information in the book you disagreed with? Why? Well, it is the first time that I read something about the flatness of the world, about the rise of the internet, and about outsourcing and uploading and supply chain. So I didn't really know much about it, and I don't think that I'm in the right place to disagree with certain parts of the book. So no, I didn't disagree with anything. So the second big task we had to make was we had to write a blog. I must say that this was my favorite task. I'm not the kind of blogging person, but yeah, we had to make it, so I did it. We had to write 6 posts at least about a certain subject, and the subject that I chose was a review. A review is a small restaurant in Ghent, where I started working on the 22nd of September this year. I worked there on Wednesday and Thursday evenings, so 2 times a week. I've written a couple of blogs about review, but also a couple of blogs about things that are related to a restaurant. So one blog is about wine tasting, about wines, which wines that I love. And 2 blogs are about gin and tonic, something that is very popular nowadays. Everybody drinks it, everybody thinks they all know about it. So 2 blogs are about that. But I must say that this wasn't really my favorite task. You can find my blogs also when you click on the link in my portfolio. There is also a link to my blog web page. We also had to do some additional work, which we could choose ourselves. So I've chosen to read 2 articles and to view 1 movie. The first article that I've read was an article about a company who has decided to give their suppliers marketing space on their websites, because they think in the old days when a company only had physical shops, it was for the suppliers much easier to get the focus of the consumer to put out marketing strategies. But nowadays with the internet selling, it is much harder, so they've decided that their suppliers could have marketing space on their websites to promote themselves. The second article that I've read is an article about brand names and why they've chosen that name, because we all know that if you want to have a successful brand, you have to have a name that is easy, powerful, that has it all. So they summed up 35 brands with their names, of course, and then they explained why they've chosen that name, and then you can see the link between the brand and the name. Like, for example, Nike, the sports brand, has chosen their name because of the Greek god Nico, and that was the god for victory. Then the movie that I've seen was a movie at TED, and it was a movie about how to get your ID spread, because because nowadays it isn't important how you manufacture your product or what a patent is of your product. Consumers don't care about that. They want to have something that is remarkable, that is new, that is others than the others, and it's important to spread your ID at the right way, to talk to the right people, and to make the right decisions. So that was a very interesting movie to see. Also an older movie because it was from 2003, but I think it's still very up to date. So that was my additional work. Okay, now it's time to evaluate my semester. I must say that I'm fairly happy about my semester. I did all the tasks except for minutes of the meeting, which is not in my portfolio. I'm also happy about the classes, and I'm very happy because we had a teacher that has the same opinion as I have. He also thinks that it's more important to talk a language and be able to express yourself in English than it is to write everything correct. Because when you write something, you have on Google the grammar and spellings correctors, and if you have to write a letter when you're working in a company, you probably have someone who will read it after you and correct it for you. So I'm very glad that we had to talk a lot, that we had to make some interesting tasks like the video, and that we had to read a book, because when you read a book you have some difficult words, you have to try to understand, you have to look up, you learn new things, you learn new words, and you learn how the English language is written in America, in my case, because my book was from America. I'm also glad we had to make tasks every week. I already said that at the beginning of my presentation. How do I evaluate myself? I must say that I'm improved. I especially improved by the fact that I dare more to speak in front of a group. I'm not so stressed anymore. My vocabulary has widened because of reading the book, because of working with English every week. I don't think that my grammar has really been improved, but that is my mistake, because I didn't really make extra exercises on the grammar, so that's my mistake. But if I look at my action plan, I must say that I did most of it. So I'm very glad, and I think I have had a good semester. And do I have some suggestions? Yes, I do have two. Yeah, two. My first suggestion is that it all has to be more clear. There were tasks we didn't know what to do. For example, now when do we need to hand in our portfolio? It's not when you look at Dropbox, the portfolio document. There's no information about it. On Facebook, people are asking when do we need to hand in our portfolio, and everybody says, yeah, okay, I will take it next class with me. Take it with me next class. So that wasn't very clear. There was also one task in the portfolio document about a fact sheet about 2 countries for a new world market. We didn't have any information about it. I've looked at Camillo, I didn't find anything about it. So I haven't made it because I just simply didn't know what I had to do. So that's maybe a suggestion for next year or for next semester, to be more clear about the facts, about the tasks that we have to do. And I do understand that we need to become more and that need to learn how to work by ourselves, but if we don't know what to do, it is pretty hard to make a task. Second suggestion is that maybe, although we had a fairly difficult class group, we didn't talk much, but maybe you need to try to push more. Sometimes it seemed that you weren't interested in us, that you were just teaching your lessons, and you had the thought of, yeah, if they don't want to learn it, their fault, I'm not going to do anything about it. Maybe next time you need to push us a little bit more. For the rest of the classes, I was very happy. I had a great time. I had some great moments at class. We had some great tasks. So overall, I'm very happy with how the course went. Okay, this video took slightly longer than I thought, but fine. I've explained everything to you about my portfolio. So this is the end of my video. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you now understand why I made my portfolio and why I've done all my task, book reading, blog, and things like that. So, thank you for watching. Have a nice day and hope to see you soon. Bye.